welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Digital Dialogues by CXO Digital Buzz. Today, we will delve into the fascinating world of blockchain technology, which, according to recent reports, is projected to reach a market size of $39.7 billion by 2025. This marks a significant leap from its nascent stages. And to explore the transformative trends and the real-world disruptions of blockchain, we're honored to have with us Dr. Mukund KS. He is a distinguished global CIO with more than 20 years of rich and diversified industry experience, an inspirational leader, a visionary thinker. He's successfully spearheaded end-to-end IT, digital transformations, and various innovative technology programs across multiple industries and geographies. And I'm very happy to have him with us on this episode. Thank you very much, Dr. Mukund, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Kanchi. It's a pleasure to be interacting with you again and wishing you and the viewers a dazzling day.
I am certain that this is going to be one enriching and insightful conversation. So let's dive into the conversation to uncover the current state, the challenges, and the future of blockchain technology.
Very interesting.
Dr. Mukund, blockchain has certainly come a long way, and it's fascinating to see how it has matured over the years. Can you share your insights on the current state of blockchain and its evolution over the past few years?
Sure, would love to delve into that, Kanchi. Like initially when blockchain started, right? The blockchain technology initially, now today, if you look at it, it is significantly matured since its inception somewhere around in 2009. By where it started off was with the Bitcoin and with Satoshi Nakamoto, who is considered to be the father of Bitcoin. But from there, the blockchain has been viewed primarily as the underlying technology for cryptocurrencies. It has now evolved into a very versatile framework with applications across various industries that you could start looking at. Early adoption started off in terms of the financial services or the DeFi kind of applications where blockchain was used primarily because of the advantages of the decentralized ledger to reduce fraud, improve transparency, and also reduce the transaction costs that were there between the banking system. So that was the primary reason. But today, what's happening is we are seeing very innovative use cases in supply chain management that is come. Also in terms of healthcare and life sciences industry, in the energy sector, in the gaming sector, or even from a governance perspective, that is where today blockchain is actually getting persevered under. Very interesting if you look at in terms of Walmart. So what Walmart did, they used the blockchain technology to track the journey of the food chain from farm to table. This was primarily to ensure that the food safety is being taken care. And in case there's going to be any kind of a safety issue, they're able to identify that in minutes versus earlier when it used to take days, which means the number of lives saved could also be higher. This is one of the most important KPIs that I always talk about, number of lives saved, whether it's going to be the healthcare or the life sciences industry that I represent, or even if it's going to be from a CPG industry. So I believe that is where we are moving towards. And there has been a lot of concern initially in terms of blockchain, where blockchain was responsible for environmental and sustainability issues, because in terms of the computing capacity for blockchain, it was very high. But today, what has happened is with the layer 2 and the layer 3 solutions coming in, we are able to look at higher transactions and lower costs and also sustainability towards a greener zone. So I think blockchain is evolving and it's going to take some more time before it sees the entire maturity of the system together. Thank you.
Well, I couldn't agree more with that assertion. And we've seen the multitude of applications across industries and across different functions within those industries that blockchain currently is undergoing.
Very true.
And having said that, Dr. Mukund, blockchain with the applications and everything that it's undergoing has become a strategic priority for many executives. It's clear that some of these are highly disruptive emerging trends. Could you please elaborate on what these trends are and how, these trends potentially impact the industry?
Sure. So let's put the spotlight on over there. What we have seen today with blockchain is that there has been a pretty good influx in the mass adoption of cryptocurrencies. Well, it's a very debatable topic, right? When we talk about cryptocurrencies, is cryptocurrencies accepted? Do governments approve of cryptocurrencies? But then if you look at countries like the Middle East and Dubai and all, cryptocurrencies accepted. But going back in terms of what could be happening is also we are seeing a high rise in the number of CBDCs, which are nothing but the central bank of digital currencies. There is also an advancement in the blockchain interoperability, like blockchain speaking to each other. There is an improved security measure because initially when blockchain started, there, like any evolving technology, there were security gaps that could be identified in the blockchain network. But today, the system has become so robust that the security measures are at the highest, and I believe that the blockchain will offer any higher level of security than any other transaction mechanism that you have today. Also, the regulatory landscapes are changing quite a bit. And initially, as how blockchain started off for DeFi kind of platforms, there is a maturation that has happened in the decentralized finance today. NFTs, people talk about non-fungible tokens typically, but then it is going beyond just talking about where we say that NFTs could be used by digital collectors or artists, but then it is creating a podium for such artists to even look at their art getting recognized and also getting monetized at the same point of time. If you look at this Bored Ape, which is one of the hottest selling NFTs today, this even at a primary level of a Bored Ape NFT is selling at 9.60 Ethereum, which is approximately around 30K in USD. And most important that you look at from a blockchain perspective is that there is an increased enterprise adoption of blockchain. That is what is happening. And with artificial intelligence coming in and having AI integrating with blockchain and IoT integrating with blockchain, I think it's a very, very interesting use cases today. I came across a very interesting case study where LO3, an organization, is using IoT with blockchain to ensure that there is a renewable energy where people can look at peer-to-peer energy trade. I can trade energy with you where I have surplus energy and you want energy, we can do surplus energy trading directly for each other. Now, this is the power of blockchain that it brings into the system. And that's where we are looking at in terms of the versatility, also for its potential to disrupt the supply chain networks and creating new business models and creating economic paradigms. I think that is where we are moving towards to very soon, actually. Thank you.
I'm sure those are some fascinating times in store. And it's intriguing to see such a high level of engagement with blockchain among enterprises where the adoption is far and wide.
Sure.
However, Dr. Mukund, the journey is not without challenges. And enterprises sure face certain challenges in adopting to blockchain technology.
Right.
Could you possibly outline some of those key challenges that enterprises face on this adoption journey?
Sure, would love to talk about that because this is day in and day out that we enterprises go through. Right. So one of the most important things is when you talk about blockchain is also from a regulatory perspective. Now, from a regulatory perspective, since today what's happening is that the blockchain framework has not been recognized by multiple regulatory bodies. It could be things like the FDA or the Ministry of Health. But with COVID coming into picture, the game has probably changed. When we look at traceability also, I think there's much better way of looking at traceability through the blockchain. So that is one. But then there are other challenges also in terms of scalability. One of those most important things why most of the enterprises did not look at blockchain was because of the scalability reasons. They started looking at probably a consortium model or even a private blockchain. But then my recommendation would be is that a private blockchain is not a real true private, is not a true blockchain in the sense that what it should be delivering, immutability. So when you look at a public blockchain, the challenge is going to be in terms of speed and the gas cost, in terms of the transactions that happen. And that has been one of the other primary reasons why organizations could not leverage public blockchain. But then today there are solutions where you could embark on layer 2, layer 3 kind of a protocol and a solution that should be able to help you in terms of eradicating the challenges that are there today. I think if people are able to look at these kind of a little bit of journeys, and it's over a period that these challenges the problem statements will get removed, and organizations which are trying to grapple around the problem will also get eradicated. It's just a journey, but it is going to be really helpful for organizations that are embarking on this journey as early as possible than at a later stage for them to go there. Sure.
I'm certain it is the classic dichotomy of the complexity versus the capability that this particular technology has. And once we've navigated through a set of challenges,
True.
it's all about the capabilities that this has.
Very well put. I think that's perfect. I think when people have the maturity coming in and the technology evolves further, I think that is where you're going to find the sweet spot.
Brilliant. In your earlier discussion to my questions, you spoke about particular use cases within the supply chain industry and also about combating counterfeiting. Both of these are critical concerns among industries. What are your thoughts on how blockchain can address both supply chain transparency and combating counterfeiting within that?
Well, very essentially, what's been happening, Kanchi, is that there have been a lot of traceability solutions existing in the market. But do these traceability solutions offer a near 100% foolproof mechanism? No. So, what could be the alternate way of looking at the best traceability, immutability? Then that's where blockchain comes into picture. So when we're talking about blockchain from a traceability perspective, today if you look at the various different industries, whether it's going to be the pharmaceutical or the life sciences industry, or you look at a CPG or an FMCG, or luxury goods, cosmetics, wine, spirits, cigars, most of these industries are being throttled by counterfeiting happening. Now, people could probably think that counterfeiting is something which is like, just a fake product, but it doesn't stop with a fake product. There have been case studies where, for example, I could talk about a case study from the cosmetic company Kylie Jenner. So Kylie Jenner Cosmetics, which is a very popular brand, there were counterfeits and dupes of it. And people who had used this particular product had allergies, and some of them even had very sensitive reactions. That's been very challenging, and it is very scary. There has also been in Walmart. Imagine if a counterfeit product can, in US, if it can make way through the supply chain network and get into Walmart. There's been baby food which has got adulterated. And then if that could be the challenge, and imagine you feeding that to your child, and that led to a lot of consequences. Very interesting. I didn't really expect, but the airline industry, I do not want to mention the airlines, but then there have been certain airlines in US where they identified like some of the products and spares that they're having in the flights have been counterfeited. And imagine that a person is going to be flying on this kind of a scenario. And that is what is going to be the kind of life impact that could happen in terms of counterfeit. Now, when we talk about this, what could the solution be? Like, blockchain coming up as a solution. I was also experimenting with different solutions, exploring the market. I came across an organization, Dioneus, with these DIONEZ. They seem to be offering a very interesting public blockchain solution integrated with AI and IoT. Similarly, IBM is also offering its traceability solution. So I think these are organizations that probably CIOs, CEOs should start talking to leverage. And I think that is where the market is going to move towards. And for consumers today, what happens is that they can just scan a simple QR code and they get to see the source to the destination. What were the distribution channels, and identify the product originality. I think it's going to establish that mechanism across all the various different channels, so that you look at also for an enterprise, any false warranty claims that can happen. They can remove the false warranty claims and ensure that the brand image doesn't get tarnished at any given point of time. I think that's where the industry is heading towards in a traceability perspective.
That I think is a brilliant application for the packaging, labeling, track and trace, and our anti-counterfeiting side of things. And with the kind of anecdotes that you've shared and the real world implications that this technology has in store, it's only growth that is projected with the adoption.
Very true, very true.
And with such rapid growth that is projected, and I see the numbers, and it's over a 5-year period from 2020 to 2025, reports predict that the technology and the market size for it is going at CAGR of 67.3%, which is brilliant. Um, I'm sure that it is essential in these kind of market dynamics for CIOs and CEOs to stay ahead of the curve. So, what, according to you, Dr. Mukund, is the future for this technology? What are the developments that we can possibly expect and that leaders like yourself should be prepared for?
Well, Kanchi, I should say that you've done a great research. And the Kaga values sound perfect out over there. Because the block, two technologies that are going to be changing the face of current landscape IT is going to be Gen AI and it is going to be blockchain. But then both these two technologies go hand in hand with each other. So that is how I would probably put it together. Well, but then looking ahead, there are very exciting developments that are happening today in the world of Web 3.0. So when I talk about the Web 3.0, it is a very decentralized internet or economy of things. And I call this as the new internet era. The reason why I call this as a new internet era, it is because we give the power back to the end users in terms of ensuring that they manage their own digital identities, which doesn't exist today, right? All our digital identities are today compromised. But then with blockchain, even governments are looking at how could they bring blockchain into governance perspective from even passport identification. So I think obviously the technology is going down over there, but for businesses, I think there's going to be a paradigm shift that they will have to look at. They'll have to start, yeah, very true. I mean, they'll have to start looking at decentralized applications. How could they redefine the user interaction? Talk about data privacy, which is getting very strong today. So I think we are slowly working towards that. And from a development perspective, obviously there are layer 2, layer 3 solutions I was talking about. Say, for example, if you look at Bitcoin, you have the Lightning Network. Or in case of Ethereum, you have the Plasma Network. Now, this helps to reduce your cost and improve the speed. So obviously, I think it is important for the CIOs first to understand what is it that the technology of today, have conversations with a lot of startups, speak to also academic bodies which are worked on blockchain. So I think these two things are very, very important. And in addition to that, for the CIOs to create an ROI for the CEOs, the CFOs, and talk about why blockchain. We are talking about traceability, right? Now let's assume that what is going to be the cost of counterfeit goods, that is a direct hit on your top line. In addition to that, what could be the brand repercussion that could happen to your brand, right? They could create very clean, clear ROI metrics that they should probably go and present to the board and showcase the value of such implementation, because everything is going to be an ROI based today, right? So build those particular relevant use cases, talk to your board, talk to your leadership team, and then portray that. I think that is where you will be able to see a lot of acceptance coming from the board in terms of adaptation and innovation in the technology. I think that becomes very, very important.
Quite brilliant, I must agree. And while you've outlined those, I'd like to zoom into my next question with the regulatory aspect of things, because seemingly no blockchain conversation is complete without touching upon the regulatory aspect.
Right.
And the frameworks and the policies that we need to put in place or are already being put in place play a very crucial role in the adoption and innovation in and around blockchain. So, if you could possibly elaborate on the importance of these frameworks and what could their potential impact be on the enterprise adoption rates for blockchain.
Fair enough. Sounds great. So I think, Kanchi, as I mentioned, right, the technology is evolving, the frameworks around the technology are evolving, and that's where I would probably say that technology organizations and also organizations that define these kind of frameworks, whether it's going to be Ministry of Health, whether it's going to be FTA, whether it's going to be FSSAI, or if it's going to be a financial body like an RBI. I think they need to come together and have an understanding in terms of how could the technology be leveraged in a way that it is going to be really helpful. For example, today, if you look at the GDPR, right, the GDPR today, for Europe, which is very important. The article talks about the right to be forgotten, which is the most important thing in GDPR. That is the whole crux of GDPR. It also says that how blockchain could also enable securing this personal data. So a lot of innovation is happening around it, adaptation is happening around it, innovation is happening around it. But conversely, this kind of regulatory uncertainties also stifle the growth. Now, that's where we need to identify what could be the point where these two systems could come together, talk to each other, and reduce the complications and move ahead. For example, even from a finance perspective, could blockchain be used for fundraising? Today, people are talking about fundraising and crowdsourcing through blockchain. But then, is that accepted from a financial standpoint? Is something that needs to be looked at. So very soon, I think the regulatory and the industry stakeholders come together, collaborate, and create these kind of frameworks. Like there are different frameworks, and then they would start establishing better established mechanisms to move over there. Technological advancements would happen with the regulatory ensurements. For example, if I talk from an FDA perspective, earlier FDA used to say that you need to sign the documents manually.
Yes.
But COVID coming into picture, right? COVID came into picture, and they said let's move from a CSPA to a CSA kind of a model, computer system assurance. Now, this was a framework change that has never happened, but COVID changed the game. Now, similarly, blockchain is going to be a game changer, and regulatory authorities are going to look at this going to be a much better way to store data, whether it's going to be clinical trial data. It could be in terms of storing your financial data. It could be in terms of SPI, which is your sensitive privacy information data, or your personal identifiable information. It is more secure because there are so many nodes that are getting created in the blockchain network. And if somebody would have to alter that, then it is going to be obviously a change across the entire network system, which is not going to happen immediately. Well, so I would say that this is very important, that at a point that these two things will amalgamate and come together. Thank you.
Quite brilliant. And of course, understanding and navigating these regulatory frameworks proves out to be absolutely pivotal in unlocking the full potential that blockchain has in store. And, the numerous applications of this particular technology, ensuring that innovation can actually thrive within a secure and compliant environment. So some brilliant set of environment. Thank you very much for sharing those insights with us, Dr. Mukund.
It's a pleasure.
I'm so grateful to do this interview with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kanti. It's been a pleasure to be interacting with you again. And I should give you the credits for having a very, very well-rounded interaction. Your research around the topic sounds quite exciting. Your numbers have been perfect. So quite interesting. I really loved the interaction with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Mukund. Always a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And have a wonderful day ahead.
You too. As we wrap up this enlightening episode of the Digital Dialogues, it's clear that blockchain is not just a fleeting trend, but a transformative force poised to revolutionize industries across the globe, from enhancing supply chains to offering robust solutions and beyond. Blockchain's potential is vast and profound. Dr. Mukund's insights have not only demystified the complexities of this technology, but have also painted a vivid picture for its future landscape for us. And I'm totally grateful to you, Dr. Mukund, for doing this with us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure, Kanchi, to have this interaction, and have a lovely day ahead. Thank you.
You too. To our audiences, please stay tuned as we continue to explore cutting-edge innovations that are shaping our digital future. Until next time, we request you to keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Thank you.